Danger. Danger, and be careful. This isn't just a dramatic warning, it's an energetic truth pulsing through the cosmos right now. The universe is trying to protect you, Leo, but the question is, are you even listening? You see, energy doesn't always come with flashing red lights. Sometimes, it arrives as a whisper. A hesitation before you make a decision. A sudden change in someone's tone. A dream that keeps coming back. An urge to pull away even when everything looks fine. Hello, Leo, and welcome to Eternal Mindfulness. If this video has found you, it's not by chance. It's because something is stirring in your energy field, and the universe has chosen this moment to deliver a message directly to your spirit. What if I told you that your intuition has been right this whole time? That the person, the opportunity, or even the habit you've been clinging to might be the very thing that's blocking your blessings? That something unseen is trying to shift your path before it's too late? In this video, I won't just read the cards or repeat planetary movements. I'm here to decode a divine message hidden between the lines of your recent experiences, a warning that comes not from fear, but from love. Because when the universe sends caution, it's not to stop your life. It's to save your soul from a detour that doesn't serve your highest good. And you know what? You may have already received the signs. Have you seen 1111, 222, or 999 lately? Heard the same piece of advice from multiple people? Felt like you're being pushed or pulled without knowing why? If so, I invite you right now to comment below. Tell me what signs you've noticed. Your acknowledgement isn't just for me, it's your sacred contract with the universe. It says, I see. I hear. I'm ready to receive. This reading was crafted for you, Leo, the heart-centered warrior who gives and gives until you're empty, who shines so brightly even when the world around you dims. But even fire needs protection from wild winds. And even lions pause before they pounce. Over the next few minutes, we'll uncover why something in your world feels off right now. What's shifting behind the scenes both in astrology and in the spiritual realm. And how you can protect your energy, your future, and your heart before something, or someone, takes more than they give. But before we dive in deeper, let me pause to say this. Thank you. For every like, every comment, every beautiful soul who joins this journey by subscribing to Eternal Mindfulness. Your energy makes this channel a sanctuary. You give this work meaning, and your support fuels everything we share here. And I promise you, Leo, you'll want to stay with me until the very last second of today's message. Because what's coming next isn't just insight. It's your protection. Your clarity. Your breakthrough. So let me ask you. What invisible signal pulled you to this video today? What made you pause just long enough to click? That, Leo, is where your story begins. Now, let's follow the signs before they disappear. There are moments in our lives when we feel a sudden rush to act, when urgency rises from somewhere we can't quite explain. And yet, underneath that urgency often lies confusion, fear, or a desire to regain control. In this astrological moment, as Mars exits Leo and forms a tense aspect with Uranus, that energy becomes even more palpable. Mars, the planet of action, heat, and willpower, leaving the expressive sign of Leo, your sign, creates a space that might feel like a void, or worse, an invitation to act out from discomfort. Uranus, on the other hand, is the planet of sudden shifts, breakage, and awakening. When they clash, even subtly, the energy becomes impulsive, unpredictable, and emotionally jagged. It's a moment where the fire within might confuse reaction with clarity. The Tower card in Tarot reflects this beautifully. It isn't about punishment or destruction for the sake of it, it's a clearing, a collapse of illusions that were never built on truth to begin with. But when the Tower appears alongside the Page of Swords, the message becomes more precise. Be mindful of how quickly your mind races to conclusions. The Page of Swords is curious but often naive, quick to speak, quicker to act, and not always grounded in wisdom. Combined, they're a red flag. Not to fear what's coming, but to sharpen your awareness before you rush into something that might unravel faster than you realize. Right now, Leo, you may be standing at the edge of a decision that feels both urgent and uncertain. And the paradox here is that the more it feels urgent, the more likely it's being driven by something other than truth. You see, when our emotions are stirred, whether it's anger, exhaustion, disappointment, or fear, our vision narrows. The world becomes black and white. We feel we must do something. But real clarity never screams. It doesn't push. It waits. And it offers stillness as its compass. That's why this energy, though chaotic, is also a sacred test. There is a practice taught in the wisdom of the ancients. Before you act, pause. Observe. Let the wave pass. Only then will you see the water for what it really isn't, just the surface that crashes, but the current underneath that holds the deeper truth. Right now, that's the invitation. You don't need to suppress your feelings, but you also don't need to obey them. Not immediately. Not until you've listened beneath the noise. One practical way to honor this process is by writing it down. Everything you're thinking of doing. Every message you want to send, every choice you want to make. Write it down, then wait. Let it sit for 24 hours. When you return to it the next day, with the fire cooled and the heart quieter, ask yourself, is this still the right path? Or was I simply trying to release pressure? That act alone transforms emotional reaction into conscious response. And that, Leo, is one of your greatest powers, your ability to pause the performance, step behind the curtain, and ask what the soul really wants. If you find yourself especially reactive during this transit, wear or surround yourself with deep blue sapphire, if you have it. This color vibration cools the heat of Mars and settles the nervous system, bringing mental clarity and emotional containment. Let it anchor you, not into stillness that numbs, but into stillness that sees. The universe isn't telling you, don't act. It's asking you to act with awareness. Not from the fire that burns you, but from the fire that illuminates your path. And if that fire needs another day to settle, give it that gift. In doing so, you give yourself a future that doesn't need to be cleaned up because you never let the storm take control in the first place. When someone begins to distance themselves from us, not with words, but with silence, delay, or emotional withdrawal, it creates a kind of ache that logic cannot soothe. It's that in-between space where the heart still hopes, but the energy around us speaks differently. This is the space the Four of Cups occupies, the stillness of longing for something that's no longer fully present, paired with the discomfort of sensing you're being held at arm's length, not by accident, but by design. And when the lovers appear reversed in a reading, it doesn't always point to the absence of love. Sometimes, it reveals a love that's been twisted, redefined, or worse, used as a tool of confusion. This dynamic of being kept close, but never close enough, often signals more than just emotional immaturity. It reflects an energetic imbalance. It's the kind of pattern where someone doesn't want to fully choose you, but also doesn't want to release you. There's a silent grip in that. A quiet control. And without realizing it, we sometimes begin to orbit them, hoping, waiting, compromising the clarity of our own path just to stay within reach. But the truth is, no one who truly values you will make you question your worth through absence. Love may ebb and flow, but it never manipulates. This is where understanding energy becomes essential. From an astrological perspective, Leo is a sign of radiant presence. You are ruled by the sun, after all, meant to shine, not to shrink in someone else's shadow. Yet when your light is dimmed by uncertainty, it's easy to forget that your power lies not in being chosen, but in choosing yourself again and again. According to the law of attraction, what you continue to allow energetically, emotionally, or silently becomes your invitation for more of the same. If you're still energetically tied to someone who's no longer showing up, or worse, showing up only enough to confuse you, you unconsciously send the message that you're willing to accept breadcrumbs. And the universe listens. It always listens. It mirrors back what you're willing to tolerate. Which is why the most loving thing you can do in these moments is not to chase or fix, but to retreat. Not as punishment but as preservation. There's a powerful lesson in simply being with what is, without forcing it into what it used to be. Sometimes, the door you're hoping they'll walk back through is the same door the universe is trying to close behind you. And if you keep holding it open, no new energy can come in, not in love, not in clarity, and certainly not in peace. Practically, this is a time to turn inward. Strengthen your energetic boundaries. Meditate on the difference between attention and intention. Are they reaching out just to maintain a grip, or to truly reconnect? The answer lies not in their words, but in your body's response. Your nervous system always knows. If their presence brings anxiety instead of calm, that is your answer. Wearing or working with obsidian, especially volcanic glass, can assist you in severing cords that feel unhealthy or lingering. This is a stone of energetic clarity. It doesn't numb you. It reveals. And sometimes, what we see in that reflection is the truth we've been trying to avoid, that we've been holding onto the idea of someone, not the reality of them. Colors like ash gray or deep violet can also support this process. These are the shades of transformation, of spiritual cutting away, of sacred release. They carry the energy of endings, not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet, grounded decision to say, I deserve more than waiting for someone who doesn't see me. And maybe the most powerful insight of all is this: what you let go of with integrity, you never truly lose. When you choose yourself, you make space for others to meet you in that same frequency. Not half-present. Not conditional. But fully. Entirely. And only then can something real begin again, from a place of choice, not fear. Fear around money rarely begins in the wallet. It starts in the mind, moves into the body, and quietly settles into the energy we carry, often without our awareness. In moments of financial uncertainty, the mind begins to loop. What if I lose it all? What if it's never enough? what if I make the wrong choice? These thoughts don't simply stay in our heads, they start to shape our behaviors, from procrastination to undercharging, from overspending out of panic to underinvesting out of fear. And when we allow these stories to repeat, they become the very pattern that holds us back from abundance. The tarot gives us a powerful lens here. The Ace of Pentacles is a symbol of new beginnings in the material world, of fresh opportunity, a gift, a seed of potential. But when this card appears alongside the Five of Pentacles reversed, it asks us to examine how we sabotage those new beginnings before they even have a chance to take root. That reversal points to a mindset slowly healing from lack, but still haunted by the shadow of it. In other words, you may be stepping into a chapter of financial opportunity, but if the fear of scarcity lingers in your energy, you may not fully allow yourself to receive it. This is where perspective matters more than numbers. There are people with less who feel wealthy and people with more who still live in fear. The shift happens not when you have enough, but when you choose to relate to money as a form of energy in exchange of value, attention, and gratitude. When you bless each dollar you receive and each dollar you spend, you create a sacred loop of respect. And from that respect, flow is born. Numerology teaches us that the number 5 represents change, often uncomfortable, but absolutely essential. It's the moment where stability is disrupted so that something new can be built. If you've been feeling financial anxiety recently, ask yourself, is this a true crisis, or is it a necessary invitation to evolve? Maybe it's time to update your habits, adjust your relationship with receiving, or challenge a belief about what you're worthy of. Growth doesn't always feel safe at first. It often mimics the fear of loss, but it's in that tension that transformation begins. To help shift this energy, try a gentle nightly ritual. Before bed, write down 5 reasons why you are worthy of wealth, not just survival, but overflow. Don't just write what sounds good. Write what feels true, even if it's uncomfortable. I am worthy because I offer value. I am worthy because I've healed so much. I am worthy because I want to give more to the world. Fold that list and place it under your pillow for 3 nights. Let your subconscious soak in what your conscious mind is still learning to accept. Color vibrations can also assist in aligning with abundance. Golden hues, especially those with a soft metallic shimmer, awaken solar energy, confidence, vitality, action. Meanwhile, wood tones, like earthy browns, ground and stabilize your field, reminding your nervous system that it is safe to expand. Together, they balance the fire of ambition with the calm of trust. And perhaps most importantly, remember this: fear of money is rarely about money. It's about identity, trust, and permission. Do you trust yourself to handle more? Do you allow yourself to receive without guilt? Do you believe that wealth is meant for you, or only for others? These questions aren't meant to shame, but to awaken. Because the moment you start answering them with courage, the moment you soften into the knowing that your value is already present, the external shifts begin to follow. Not as magic, but as alignment. Sometimes, the body speaks before the mind is ready to understand. It whispers through fatigue, tension in the shoulders, a heaviness behind the eyes, or the sudden weight of breath that feels too tight to carry. And while we may dismiss these signals as simple stress or being just tired, they are often the first messages from our inner compass, a gentle warning that something within is out of alignment. When the 9 of Swords appears in a reading, especially alongside Strength reversed, it paints a clear picture of inner unrest taking shape in the physical world. These are the thoughts that loop late into the night, the fears that steal rest, and the unspoken worries that turn into aches, brain fog, or even emotional disconnection. As someone who works with the energy of Leo, you're no stranger to carrying more than your fair share of responsibility. Your courage is legendary, but when courage turns into constant control, the nervous system can begin to interpret everyday life as a threat. When that happens, the body no longer rests, it defends. The heart beats faster. The muscles stay tight. The digestion falters. Not because you're weak but because you've stayed strong for far too long without pausing to ask, am I okay? Not, am I functioning, or, am I getting things done, but truly, am I okay inside this body I live in? This is the part of your journey that asks for gentleness. The law of attraction teaches that what we vibrate from the inside shapes what shows up around us. And while many focus on mindset and visualization, the body is often forgotten as a vibrational channel. A mind can think abundance, but if the body is tense, depleted, or in constant survival mode, it sends out a completely different frequency. Your body is not a vehicle to push harder, it is a sacred mirror of your emotional truth. And when it's exhausted, it's asking for attention, not judgment. In teachings rooted in mindfulness, there is a practice of returning home to the body not to fix it, but to inhabit it with awareness. This begins with simple actions that tell your system, you are safe now. Replace your third cup of coffee with warm water and lemon or chamomile tea. Not because caffeine is bad, but because your nervous system deserves peace more than performance. Set aside 5 minutes in the morning for gentle stretches, not to burn calories, but to greet your physical self as a friend, not a task. Consider adding magnesium or B-complex vitamins if stress has been a long-term companion. Your body is not asking for perfection, it's asking for partnership. Color energy can support this healing as well. Soft green tones resonate with the heart, reminding you that restoration is as valuable as achievement. Milky whites reflect purity and renewal, offering your energy field a clean slate to soften into. These colors can be worn, visualized in meditation, or even incorporated through your environment, a reminder that beauty and gentleness are part of the healing process. This chapter of your life doesn't require you to be stronger. It asks you to redefine what strength looks like. Perhaps true strength, right now, means stopping. Pausing. Listening to the deeper wisdom held in your chest, your gut, your breath. Because no matter how much you achieve, if your body is breaking beneath it, the price is too high. When you begin to honor your physical well-being not just as a tool, but as a sacred space, you send a powerful signal back to the universe. I am ready to receive not just success, but well-being. Not just results, but peace. And from that space, the right things begin to arrive, not forced, not chased, but drawn to you by the quiet, steady vibration of alignment. There's a quiet moment, subtle and often inconvenient, when something inside you whispers, this isn't right. You might not have evidence. Nothing obvious has happened yet. But something in the atmosphere has shifted. The people around you haven't changed their words, but their energy feels off. The plan you made last week now seems slightly misaligned, even if it still looks good on paper. It's in these quiet, nearly imperceptible moments that the universe speaks the loudest. And more often than not, we're too busy trying to rationalize our way through life to truly hear it. The tarot paints this beautifully through the cards Judgment, the High Priestess, and Six of Swords. Judgment calls us to awaken not by force, but by clarity. It's not about punishment, it's a realization, a call back to what matters most. When this card appears alongside the High Priestess, you're not being asked to analyze, but to listen deeply. The High Priestess doesn't shout. She doesn't offer proof. She simply holds space for truth to emerge when you're ready to stop arguing with your own intuition. And with the Six of Swords, the invitation becomes clear. Move away from what no longer resonates, even if it's familiar, even if it once made sense. This is a subtle form of wisdom, and it requires a different kind of courage. Not the kind that makes bold declarations or burns bridges, but the quiet courage to pause, reassess, and shift course without needing external validation. In the teachings of stillness and awareness, it is often said that silence is not the absence of sound but the space where clarity is born. And when you're willing to enter that space without distraction, without denial, you begin to feel the pull of something greater than your thoughts, a deeper knowing. The law of attraction teaches that clarity comes when the noise quiets. It is through this quiet that your energy calibrates. When you are constantly rushing, chasing, pushing, or proving, your frequency becomes scattered. But when you allow silence to hold you, something begins to align. You begin to hear not just your thoughts, but your knowing. That knowing is what people often refer to as a gut feeling, but it's more than instinct. It's accumulated wisdom, spiritual, cellular, ancestral, speaking up before something breaks. The number 6 in numerology embodies care, harmony, and healing. It calls you inward, not to retreat in fear, but to protect what's sacred. That includes your peace, your time, your intuition, and your right to shift direction without apology. If you've been feeling the nudge to slow down, to move on, or to change something even when it doesn't make logical sense, consider this your confirmation. The universe doesn't always explain itself with clarity. Sometimes, it just gives you enough discomfort to keep you from staying too long in a space that no longer serves your growth. Colors like lavender purple and misty ocean blue can assist in these moments. They carry the energy of openness, purification, and deep trust. They are the hues of soft boundaries and quiet transformation. Try incorporating these tones into your clothing, your meditation space, or even your digital world to remind your system that you are safe to receive the unseen, and safe to act without needing full understanding. So if lately you've had that feeling like something isn't quite right, like you're meant to change but don't know how to brush it off, sit with it. Let the quiet show you what your mind cannot. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to listen, to pause, and to trust that your awareness is already the first step forward. The universe wants to help you, but help only arrives where it's welcomed. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make isn't to act louder but to listen deeper. Sometimes, moving forward isn't the brave choice. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stop, pause in the middle of momentum, and admit, with honesty, that something no longer feels aligned. Leo, this message is not about quitting. It's about protecting what's sacred within you. The world often tells you to push, to conquer, to burn brighter no matter what. But what if the universe is asking you to simply breathe? What if stillness is not failure, but grace? What if stepping back right now is how you finally stop walking toward a future that was never meant for you? You see, not every delay is a punishment. Not every unanswered call is a rejection. Sometimes the space you feel, the silence, the waiting, the uncertainty is divine protection rearranging your path before damage can occur. You are not being held back. You are being redirected. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. There is something deeply powerful happening beneath the surface, and even if you can't see it yet, your soul can already feel it. This journey we've taken together today isn't just about warning signs or tarot cards or energy shifts. It's about reclaiming your own authority. It's about remembering that you get to say no. That your body knows when something isn't safe. That your heart knows when it's had enough. That your spirit, your inner compass, is already pointing you toward peace, even when your mind is still trying to make sense of the noise. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to trust the signs and soften into what your intuition has been trying to show you all along. So now I want to ask you, what's one area in your life where you've been pushing even when something deep inside you told you to stop? Was it a relationship? A job? A version of yourself you no longer resonate with? What would happen if, just for a moment, you gave yourself permission to step back and listen? Would the world fall apart, or would it actually begin to rebuild itself in a way that finally supports you? If something in today's message stirred your heart or made you pause and ignore that, comment below and declare it, I heard the universe. Not just to me, not just to this community, but as a sacred agreement with your higher self. When you type those words, you are anchoring your intention to no longer bypass the signs, the whispers, the intuitive nudges. You are choosing to let clarity lead, no longer fear, no longer habit. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Your presence is never taken for granted. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, you become part of something much greater, a ripple of collective awareness rising to meet a new, more conscious way of living. Your energy fuels this space. Your growth gives this message meaning. And together, we're learning to stop surviving and start aligning. So if you know someone who needs to hear this today, don't keep it to yourself. Share the message. Be the bridge. And if you haven't already, click that like button, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and stay close. Because the more we tune in, the clearer the path becomes. Now tell me, Leo, what moment in your life felt like a detour, but ended up being your turning point? What did you choose to walk away from, only to realize later it saved you? This is your space. Speak from the heart. The universe is listening. And so am I.